and no Kaisa available, but not a huge priority in jungle just yet. Obviously, the Olaf is removed.
Yeah, Olaf has to be removed. It's like basically it's still like Olaf, Skarner being the priority picks, and then obviously like something like Xayah and Xayah being like, you know, for some people being like these go-to picks if those are left out. This Sion ban is actually pretty good because when you're on blue side, you definitely want to pinch out the Sion because he always has that flex pressure on the red side that he can just wave clear mid lane or wave clear top lane.
And if I remember correctly, Nisqy played it yesterday as well. Hasn't been, you know, as popular here in EU as we've seen in LCK. Another mid lane ban, Galio taken out. So jungler's still up. A lot of
Caitlyn.
potential options, and obviously we've seen Steeelback playing those janitor-style ADCs. When you see this heavy top lane focus and Odoamne actually having a number of champions removed from him and removing some counters of himself, I want to see what he's going to go to. Is Camille, we just saw it in that play and how impactful it was.
Yeah, I'm really interested too. I actually don't quite know what's going to be left up for the top lane pool, at least in terms of blind picks, but I do think if they leave him up for a later rotation, he's going to be fine. The Caitlyn first pick is nothing too, you know, special out there anymore. Caitlyn has been dominant on this patch, and we heard just a lot of AD carries also talk about it. She's just the best AD carry on this patch.
I mean, this is the 6th game that we've had on the weekend and on the patch, and it's the 3rd time she's been first picked.
Yeah.
So 50% blue side first pick priority, and the answer is going to be Xayah. Rakan is still there for Kasing, even though he has trended towards a little bit more of the long-range support style champions, but he has played a very mean Rakan. 1 game played, and it was a victory as well. 0-0-9 his final score.
Yeah, I don't think you have to pick the Rakan necessarily here because there's no way the Giants is going to pick it. That's why I really like this Xayah pickup. I do think it denies Giants a lot because Djoko has had a pretty okay win rate on that champion, has been really like good in playmaking. I think that's basically the champion that, you know, is you can do whatever you want to, and it doesn't really matter what the team does.
I mean, you talked about Djoko's win rate, but
Yeah,
you know, amazing.
Xerxe's.
Do you happen to know Xerxe's win rate on Zach?
Happen to. He's been 100% on it. It's
But
actually
how many wins is that?
that's 5 wins for him.
Well, there we go. Of Splyce's 10 victories, stats man amazing, dropping the knowledge. And of course, Xerxe, I mean, Vedius just gave him some very big praise. The best performing EU LCS jungler at the moment. He's going up against Djoko's Skarner. How strong is that statement? How much do you agree with it?
I mean, the jungle pool right now in the USCS seems kind of, I don't want to say limited, but the thing is that the jungle pool itself doesn't have as much influence, or different teams approach the jungle differently. So for example, for Giants, it's really important that Djoko does plays. For Splyce, it's really important that Xerxe just brings control into the game. So for him to actually bring control and then maybe make plays early on in the game makes him the best jungler, because that's basically when he exceeds the expectations.
I actually really like that. You have to fit the role, your play style with your team's play style. And of course, in terms of phase 1 play styles, Caitlyn, Azir, Skarner for Giants. Got some scaling, got some pick. And of course, on the side of Splyce, Xayah, Rakan, no surprises there, as well as the Zac. And we jump into phase 2 bans. Tofiscio made a bold statement that anybody that plays Morgana will win this weekend. He was wrong, but Morgana's banned away, so we won't be able to test that theory.
He happens to be wrong some of the time, I suppose. But yeah, Morgana is a really strong pick in this patch. It's basically, especially combined with Caitlyn, that you have the safe trap setup where you just Morgana Q, trap below, and then you have probably a killer level 2 even. The champion itself just offers so much utility for especially junglers too. For example, with a Skarner, you can just run in and hook someone, but that's taken away now.
All right, so what is next? Swain banned away. Very happy to see Swain picked once yesterday, banned I think 2 or 3 times. The buffs that he received on patch 8.5, bringing him into a pretty healthy, pretty good spot.
Yeah, he's definitely top tier pick actually. I think, especially as a flex pick on red side, I think it's really valuable because he can play both mid and top. And the amount of damage he does is just incredible. And the CC setup too, if someone like basically CCs him, then he just puts him back too. It's so strong right now. Especially
in this coordinated team play. Bwipo yesterday really showing with Fnatic how good it can be when Fnatic beat Giants, in fact. So, you know, on the receiving end.
I got some PTSD going on.
That's definitely the case. Corki's going to be the final ban along with Thresh. So, mid and top their focus for Giants. Support's getting some cheers from the Portuguese fans here in Berlin at the EU LCS. So where are we going to close out the team composition now? What would you like to see from both squads?
I think for Splyce, it's just about getting more engaged and more CC, honestly. Like, I think that the Ryze pick is perfect because you can basically TP in too with the ultimate and then CC someone, basically have the setup for Xayah or vice versa, whatever it is. For Giants lineup, it's really important to just be able to protect the backline because there's so much engaged on Splyce's side that if they don't have anything to answer that, the Caitlyn and Azir are just going to be run over.
All right, and then how do we close out the team comps with top laners? Does Odoamne go for some sort of split push or some sort of tank? Ornn maybe? Just go even more all in on that long range engage? We'll find out shortly. Giants, they've got to lock in their team comps. It's going to be Tahm Kench. There's one way to protect your backline. Devour is going to be very useful.
Can you devour someone that is, like, if you devour your own Skarner while he's putting someone, does that work?
I mean, I don't see why not. The tether would just say out of his mouth like a fishing line. You know, you just pull along the guy. We'll have to see. We'll keep our eyes open. But it's going to be a Gangplank locked in. So
not a fan of the Gangplank.
Blind?
It feels awkward because, basically, I mean, team comp-wise in the late game, it makes sense because Gangplank is a strong champion, Azir is a strong champion, Caitlyn is a strong champion in the late game. But the issue with Gangplank early on is, especially with combined with Azir, is that you're going to have two losing lanes most likely, especially with the Blood coming in now. I think he can actually pressure the Gangplank completely, especially with Xerxe just being able to dive him 24/7. So I'm looking forward to see that on the top side of the map.
Okay, early game options for Xerxe, scaling for Odoamne on that Vladimir in a fairly comfortable lane for Vladimir to GP, I think. But it's Giants. It kind of feels like Giants all over again. Some scaling, some late game team fights. If they can survive, that is a terrifying combination in the late game. But it's not
unbeatable.
Unbeatable, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of team comps that are not, don't give you this 100% win condition in the late game. I think that Splyce team comp has the outplay potential. For them, it's basically up to setting up the engages, where Giants always has to be on the lookout for them. And unless they get a couple of picks early on, I do think that the mid game is going to be quite the power hole for them.
All right, power hole in the mid game and whether or not they can overcome it. As the analyst desk said at the beginning of the day, for Giants, they can play heartbreakers. If Giants win this game, they will eliminate Misfits and the Unicorns of Love while simultaneously removing Splyce from the battle for the bye. I mean, that is terrifying when every single game to this point has had really not a huge concrete impact, and today's the day where it all happens.
Yeah, and it's exciting because to finally have these implications come in where like Giants can just destroy three teams' hopes at buys or like playoff hopes, and that's something, you know, I don't think the other teams want to happen.
No, of course not. And of course everybody else will be watching these games very, very closely. Ladies and gentlemen, load up for the last day of games in the regular season here in the spring split. Pulling out some fancy camera work as we load up onto the Rift. It is Giants taking on Splyce. And for Splyce, they've only dropped one game in the last 6. It was yesterday to drop 2 Vitality.
That game, man.
And it's their fault, right?
Yeah.
Like, they got caught out. They made the mistake in the late game that was punished. And all credit to Vitality for catching the throw, right?
Yeah.
But for Splyce, that could be the game that determines if they have to play a quarterfinal or play in the semifinals directly.
Yeah, and the issue with those things too, like, I mean, skipping quarterfinals is not that important, but it's more about the seeding implications, potentially. Because if you drop down to 4th seed and you have to face like someone, I don't know who's going to be 5th and 6th, but you're most likely going to end up facing Fnatic in the semis. And I don't think that's something you want necessarily, because you definitely want to get to those finals, because I think Fnatic right now is a really strong team.
Necessarily the strongest team in EU at the moment. I think that's a pretty safe safe comment to make there, Maurice.
They're pretty okay, yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the stats on Xerxe over the last sort of 9 weeks of play. Yeah. Because we talked about how he has improved. We talked about the impact he's having in the EU LCS. And if you look at his jungle proximity, it's the amount of time he spends around his laners during the early game, his kills plus assist at 15 and his team gold at 15, every single stat significantly better in the back half of the split.
He was really bad early game in the beginning of the split, where he basically played to almost like improving Splyce. I think that's something like a lot of people have a misconception about. If a jungler is inactive early game, it doesn't always mean that he's a passive jungler. It means that it can mean, especially in good projects like Splyce, that he's just trying to, like, you know, get the lane set, whatever it is, and try to play for vision, and don't be too risky, and just play to the win conditions. And sometimes you overdo that, and I think that's what Xerxe did in the beginning of the split, and it's finally coming to his own, where he's actually trying to force plays if he can find them.
Yeah, I remember you and I actually talking about Splyce as a team, and how their decisions were impacting Odoamne negatively, and they needed to learn how to stop hurting him. Whereas, you know, a lot of other teams have to learn how to activate their carry. It was kind of the opposite effect for Splyce. And
it's been activated now. Odoamne is definitely there. It's, especially yesterday, like the amount of playmaking they had on the top side of the map was pretty good for them. And now we see like just normal blue start for the Skarner, getting the crab early on because he does have the quickness over Xerxe because he clears faster. Now he's going to go back to his jungle, probably full clear, and look for a reset.
Using those crystal slashes and working well, power farming for the first few minutes. No real surprises when I run down the keystones. 2 unsealed spellbooks on the side of Splyce, so Odoamne and Nisqy are going to have some options as they continue to play. Actually, Kasing has that as well. So definitely some versatility coming in as far as that is concerned. Only Targamas on the other side with the unsealed. And as far as the early laning, not too surprising. Ryze and Azir going to poke out a little bit. Nisqy on the Ryze. Had some changes this patch. His ultimate cooldown has increased. And Targamas, after missing Tongue Lash, will actually get punished really well by Kobbe and Kasing.
Yeah, this matchup is not necessarily too much in Caitlyn's favor, especially because Xerxe started on the top side of the map. Like, they had the ability to actually push up early and get like some damage done already, and we see it now. Djoko setting up for a mid gank. Didn't recall yet, so I'm hoping he's going to do that soon, but I think he's going to go for top crab first, basically save the Gangplank, and just enable him to maybe even pressure the Vladimir a bit.
Yeah, taking a look, Nisqy's got flash and heal, despite the fact he's very, very low from being zoned away by those sand soldiers. It's not the end of the world.
He's going to TP back.
Yeah, I was going to say, could swap and immediately. So that's just going to help balance out the lane pressure. Even got minion dematerializer, so holding on to that maybe, or just dealing with the shove that Azir is naturally going to have, thanks to those sand soldiers. First little skirmish is going to break out now. Now Xerxe had the options to gank top. This is something you talked about. Going to go for the flash engage from Odoamne.
That's confident, but
Ignite is going down. First blood picked up by Odo, and easily going to walk away. That was flawless.
What? I'm not quite sure what happened here. I don't know if Rune expected the damage of Odoamne, but Odoamne and Xerxe together read it really well. They knew the amount of damage they were going to put out and executed perfectly. I'm kind of weirded out because, as we see in the replay now, Xerxe is actually revealed. Like, he was seen by Djoko right now on this Skarner orb. And he still, like, Rune doesn't walk out the turret range. He still gets pinned under and dies instantly. Just a weird decision making, but maybe he just didn't have the reaction time at that moment to actually respond to the play properly.
And exactly what you expected. Amazing from the pick and ban phase. Flash forward from Targamas. This time around, the Tongue Lash is flashed away from. Kobbe's able to escape. In terms of summoner spells, AD carry on one side, traded for support on the other. Net win for Giants.
It's definitely a net win for Giants, especially because Djoko is probably going to recall soon and going to get those Predator boots. And when he hits level 6, that's the easy flash ultimate onto Kobbe.
Well, with the early first blood in favor of Splyce, at Julian Arnold from Fresherny21. I think Splyce will finish second because their macro play is clean. Every game counts. Vitality is only good if they're ahead. We'll find out later if he's right or not. Betsy's going to use that cleanse now to run away with his life. Gets dropped to 200 HP, but at least that's a summoner spell. Not the one you really want, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fine. Getting the cleanse out means that Nisqy will have the ability to just flash root him later on to actually get the gank done and be a perfect gank setup for the Xerxe level 6 gank.
Alright, another little engage here as Nisqy and Xerxe try to challenge those chickens in the jungle. They won't be able to get that one. I like calling them chickens. I hear it sometimes. The odd caster. Raptor beak, just try hard sometimes.
It's too much. Just call them chickens.
Exactly.
And they're feathers, you know, that's how it works.
And, you know, you just farm them so much, they don't really fight back that well. So, anyways, that's my personal preference. If we just look at the CS numbers here, plus 20 for Odoamne. He's got first blood. He's picked up those Ionian Boots of Lucidity already. And this is in sort of a scaling champion with a sizable advantage already. This is exactly what Splyce wanted.
Yeah, it's still fine on Gangplank's side because he does have just the ability to just bank some more money. But yeah, like if you're Splyce, having Odoamne on a carry champion and him performing well and actually being part of the team is so important for that lineup. We always talked about like maybe them not having a secondary carry beyond Kobbe, and I think Odoamne has actually stepped up to the occasion, has become that secondary carry.
It's really good because Odo is definitely one of the more established, respected top laners. Been around a very long time. Always at the top of the table when you think of top laners.
He's always been great. He has never been the best, but he's a reliable force. And I think that a lot of teams that he has been on, especially I think last year, he wasn't really enabled to the point that I expected him to be. And he has always been more of a supportive kind of role where he has played a lot of tanks, maybe some rumble here and there, but never been this carry player. I think now him actually being comfortable to play that way is a really good sign for not just Splyce, but also for Odoamne as a player.
I mean, I really like that you mentioned Rumble. When I think of EU Rumbles, Odo's one of the guys that always comes to mind. He's going to use those Tides of Blood that are empowered, get some poke down into Ruin, and try to zone him away from minions.
Around again. He's actually going to set up for another dive.
Okay, Ruin has flash available. Djoko's nowhere nearby.
They don't know that. They should know that this is coming, but they have the ping bot down. Now it should be an easy game. He's going to jump in.
We're going to judge the execution. Hemoplague has been used. Ruin already gets pulled backwards into the tower. Odo uses the W to escape, and Xerxe is credited the kill. Another easy, beautiful dive.
Yeah, there's no incentive for Djoko to play on the top lane right now. He's basically abandoning his top lane. Ruin is on his own, and he's get picked off again.
I mean, this is just playing into Xerxe and Splyce's strengths, enabling this top lane, and I mean, break this down for me, Amazing.
Okay, so from which perspective? If I do it from Giants' perspective, it just seems like they're not really respecting the amount of damage that Vladimir can do at level 6 and the amount of gank potential that Xayah has, even though they should know because Djoko has been a great Xayah player. On Splyce's side, you just do what you gotta do. Just kill the top lane and get ahead.
And they're doing it well. Maybe there's going to be a fight in the bottom lane. Let's bounces available. Xerxe waiting in the wings.
So active.
All right, let's take a look. Jungle proximity. Remember, we looked at those numbers. Increasing in the back half of the split. Battle dance onto Targamas. Let's bounce pulls him backwards. And Kobbe is activated. Another beautiful kill at the cost of an ocean drake.
Xerxe is smurfing right now. The amount of activity he actually puts out in the early game is something that we have seen in the past couple of weeks, and he's really become this great jungler that we talked about earlier. And I think I'm actually happy with his gank pattern too.
I'm very happy. I mean, just another very good play. Combines with Kasing,
Free money,
Kobbe.
man.
Everything hits. Every single ability.
Free money. And Steeelback even had to respect the potential for Xerxe to even flash on him because he was rooted by the Q2. So there was no escaping, no counterplay to that.
And that means that Splyce are 1,400 gold in the lead at 10 minutes. 3 kills to 0. And while, yes, they have lost the dragon, that means nothing when Vladimir's 1-0-1. Xerxe's got 100% kill participation. We've seen the laners of Giants. We've seen some trading and some fighting. But it feels like 4v5. Where the hell is Djoko?
I think he's just oinking in the jungle right now. He's just farming some chickens here and there. But I really expected him to be a bit more active because when you're picking this Skarner pick, it's really important to actually abuse the level 6 power spike. If you don't do that properly, you make it almost like you become a liability for the team.
When does it become too late? It's 11 minutes in, Predator's available, Impale's available. So Djoko can still do something, but it feels like that window gets smaller and smaller.
Since we track around like the 15-minute mark usually, I think at least for Skarner that actually applies really, really well because Skarner is really useless when he doesn't get somewhat ahead because he has no tank ability, he has no like real hard to see for the backline, and we see another gang top lane.
Dum 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 dum. Ruin gets pulled backwards with a stretching strike, and Odoamne's Hemoplague picks up the kill. Now Xerxe's going a little bit low. Yeah. Teleport being channeled from Splyce. I didn't see who started it. It looks like Kasing. And Splyce just pick it up. Portugal are bringing the chance. Let's go, Xerxe. And Splyce are also setting up Siege. I mean, this is just setting us up for a really strong mid game for Splyce into a team composition with Giants that is falling behind and going to have a very difficult time coming back.
And the amount of control right now that Splyce actually is bringing to the game is incredible, because you have to respect 2 additional TPs actually. Nisqy can TP, Kasing can TP, and there should be no counterplay, but the TP behind them right now.
All right, this is going to be Ruin coming to the fight. Odoamne goes golden thanks to the stopwatch. Let's bounce this use. Wow, Odoamne even takes down Djoko. Now Ruin's in trouble because Nisqy's joined the fight. Odo gets the lifesteal and survives. That's a double kill for Odoamne.
This is the time when you actually press FF button in a scrim, because there's so much activity on Splyce, and there's no counterplay for Giants at all whatsoever.
Oh man, there's another fight breaking out. Steeelback is the target, putting down a lot of damage, but Targamas is getting damaged. Chased down, Grey health is available to him, and here's some support.
And
teleport for Nisqy, the quickness! Targamas and Steeelback locked in place. Kasing's going forward, and Nisqy's not going to chase, but I got excited there as it looks like it could have been more.
Same, I got excited too. I thought Nisqy was actually going to flash him, but forcing summoners is enough. There's so much just going on the map for Splyce. A passive team in the early start of the split, now finally being active.
Oh man, such a good play. Abyssal Voyage being thrown down for Targamas. Here's the counter.
There's no TP right now though.
And Kobbe need to turn this around, but there's low HP bars. Kasing is going to try to dissuade the Giants members as the engage comes in. Kobbe with the Featherstorm and the flash gets to safety. The first kill will be secured by Giants. It's Targamas that takes down Kasing.
They finally got a kill on the board, but they have to invest a lot of time, and the Djoko ultimate finally. Kobbe actually being able to outplay that and actually surviving that is incredible.
Such a good play. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it. And that's the first kill for Giants, but they are in a gigantic hole. 3,500 gold before 15 minutes.
That's
tough. That's tough.
That sucks a bit.
Okay, let's look. So we're going to start all the way at the top. This was the teleport play from Ruin to try and get something in the 2v2.
I don't think that's too bad, but they didn't respect the Ryze roam at all whatsoever, where Ryze can freely come from mid lane. He abandons the mid wave, even Azir cannot follow up, and it's an easy pickup afterwards. Rune just... they overestimated the damage. They thought they could one-shot, that they couldn't. And now we see another TP play coming in with, actually, the Targamas ultimate behind them. And this is what I actually like. I think if you face so many TPs, you actually have to wait until they're all out or attack the TPs themselves. And given that Kasing has the TP, attacking the lane is actually pretty good.
That's such a good play from Kobbe. Featherstorm into the root prevents Djoko locking him down.
And he shot like the feathers in both directions, so he actually rooted them at the same time. It was pretty good, yeah.
Really well played. I mean, Kobbe was the shining star of Splyce in the beginning of the split.
And now it's Xerxe.
And now it's Xerxe, but look at these these damage numbers for Kobbe. Highest damage percent across his team is, of course, because of how the rest of the team deals damage. Large gold percentage. It's important to note that his damage per minute is a little below some of the leaders in the LCS, like we've seen players like Reckless. But there's no doubt that he was the first carry, the returning remaining member of Splyce, and the rest of the squad has stepped up to his early split levels.
Yeah, he definitely showed that he's worthy of staying on that roster, and I think for someone to basically return to a roster like similar to Reckless did in 2017 for Fnatic, like you basically have to establish yourself as a carrying member. You have to be the one that is basically the driving force behind a lot of victories to actually have all the other players that are coming in buy into the project too.
That's exactly what he's doing. Right, we're establishing ourselves for a team fight, potentially around Dragon. It's a Mountain Drake. Everybody was grouping up, but no shenanigans, as the Rift Herald will get a good charge onto this bottom outer turret, drop it down to about 20-odd% of its hit points. And for now, the tower will survive. Odoamne is even threatening a dive.
That's so sad for Gangplank right now. You don't want to be in his shoes. Like, the only play that they can make right now is basically try to force a play onto the bot side on the map. But Splyce is actually responding perfectly. They have Ryze on the bottom side of the map. They have Xayah. They're probably going to establish vision control right now, and they're going to go for the Dragon, most likely soon.
Okay, I'm going to keep my eyes on how that setup is. If you look at the vision, Giants have got pretty good wards in the entrances to Splyce's jungle, so some information is available to them. And obviously with Odoamne pushing that top lane and the huge success he's seen, he's up 45 CS already, halfway to the Flame Horizon. He's got deep vision inside Giants territory. There's 2 control wards in the northern half of the map, which the observers are highlighting now. Thank you, guys. And this is just giving Splyce. So they got vision on the top side, Giants got vision on the bottom side.
You can definitely see the amount of like just intelligent play and like just preparation comes into the Splyce play. They probably prepared all these spots. We actually see another ultimate coming in bottom.
Okay, Featherstorm is available and used by Kobbe. Gonna get a root onto Djoko and Targamas. Here's the reply teleport. This is a double teleport, by the way. Emo Plague instantly popped down. Odoamne flashes forward while in the Sanguine pool. Not gonna get enough damage yet. Flash forward from Kasing. Gonna get the quickness onto the root. Xerxe's coming from behind. Kobbe finds one. Nisqy gets the second. Now the tower is the focus, and Betsy's waiting in the wings. Steeelback and Betsy can't really do a lot to defend this tower, and it will go down. Splyce extend their lead further.
Yeah, it's perfect just set up for Splyce. They make the pair on the bottom side of the map. They ignore the rune TP because you can't do anything anyway. And just the amount of plays that are happening, like, you sometimes see like people being uncoordinated, but Splyce actually does it as a team as a whole, and they're always like coordinated together.
Yeah, definitely. If you missed that Odoamne game day video that we ran at the beginning, watch it back, listen to his wording. This is a team that's about growth, development, working together, and you see it in plays like this that starts a little chaotic, but they respond instantly.
Yeah. Giants just doesn't respect the double TP, to be honest here. Like, they should know that Ryze has the ability to TP. They should know that Vladimir is stronger than the Gangplank right now. They put the traps down, but that doesn't happen against a double TP because one of them is going to get through. And Nisqy, flash root, Xerxe rotating behind, and he could even like kill Steeelback too if he just wanted to, but they opt for the safe option, get the 2 kills, get the turret, and just clean play for them.
Looks like they got the dragon as well, so yeah. Mountain, tower, 2 more kills.
And it's a power hole for Giants too right now. Like, even if that comp was equal at this point, I don't think that their ability to actually do damage and to dish out damage would be there right now. Vladimir would still be stomping top lane or be ahead at least, and Ryze would still be able to get the rotations down, and Xayah would still be a threat.
Oh, stomping top lane, you say? Plus 44 CS, Morellonomicon plus Proto Belt. Before 20 minutes.
You can't even heal right now. Like, the potions don't apply anymore because of the Morellonomicon. Or is it changed?
It
no,
is.
It's not. Yeah, it is.
On Morellonomicon, it is specifically Grievous Wounds. Yeah. They've made it focused around that.
There's nothing the Gangplank can do right now. He just sits at his turret, shoots some minions, and they ultimately die with him, I suppose.
For the first time in League of Legends history, you can eat an orange and it will not be okay. All right, Let's Bounce is used, and even through the Emperor's Divide, Kasing gets a piece of the pie. 9 kills for Splyce, 100% kill participation for Xerxe, the strongest performing jungler in the EU LCS, and Targamas donates another kill to Splyce. Kasing picks it up, Splyce are going fishing, and they're getting another tower as well.
The Giants are running their own charity right now because they're donating kills left and right, and it's just impressive. The amount of mechanical skill, like even Xayah is supposed to be such a simple champion, but Xerxe gets the E on top of Azir. He instantly casts the ultimate, so Azir's ultimate is nullified, and he gets him back into the team.
I mean, look at this, 4 towers, 7,000 gold lead. This is just impressive.
It's really sad for Giants because they could have had these implications coming in. They look really down right now, but yeah, they can't play a heartbreaker to anyone right now.
All right, so here's a replay, and just look at the timing here. Instantly into Let's Bounce.
He cancels the dash, he cancels the ultimate. There's no counterplay for Azir unless he flashes instantly, but you can't do that, and then Targamas just...
I mean, you can see Ruin and Djoko coming in from the side, but
they
it's
had
too
no
little
chance.
and too late.
And Odoamne can always rotate. They're never gonna be having the numbers advantage in mid lane. There's no chance for Giants to establish that whatsoever.
Oh man, Giants are in such a gigantic hole, a gigantic deficit. It's the largest gold lead that Splyce have had at 20 minutes, all split long. It's the last game of the regular season, and for Splyce, this is to keep them in the running for the battle for the bye.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams that are running for that second seat. 3 teams who could take second seed at the end of the regular season. Vitality, Splyce, and G2. And for Splyce, they're 0-2 against Vitality. So when it comes to head-to-head, that is a problem for them. If Vitality beat G2, Vitality will take second. So what Splyce are hoping for is for G2 to win that game later today. And obviously...
And then they have to beat the tiebreaker.
If they play like this, they can, because they're looking fantastic.
Yeah, they definitely look a lot better than G2, and they actually had a pretty good game against Vitality yesterday too. Splyce is really looking strong and scary, because from what I've seen of the roster, what I thought of the roster was always like this late game approach, and we saw it in the early part of the season, and we never saw like these early game explosions where Xerxe is actually being active, Odoamne is being active, and all of this coming together makes Splyce not just a scary team for now, but maybe even a scary team come playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. We're just seeing if they're going to skip quarterfinals, guarantee themselves that spot in Copenhagen, which, by the way, tickets are on sale. Get over to e.lolesports.com. and check out the show. And for Splyce, right, 22 minutes in. The world is their oyster. It feels like
care anymore. He just
feels like he can do anything. I mean, look at this. Straight under the tower, insta flash from Betsy. So give a little bit of time. Whoa! Somehow Steeelback's down. Djoko and Targamas are the targets. This looks like a 2v3, which Splyce won because Odoamne has the fighting power of at least 2 people. I didn't really quite see how that happened, but Steeelback just gets dumpstered,
and they
now
take the mid lane
tower as well.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. Splyce can do whatever they want. They're too tanky, they're too strong. They do too much damage, to do too much of everything right now for Giants to actually be able to respond whatsoever.
Oh man, and for Giants, it's just such a disappointing end to the split. They picked up 5 early wins.
And he's ganked again.
Remember, Betsy now kisses Djoko. Won't be a follow-up let's bounce, but because he had no flash, instantly forced to run away and Splyce get the tower eventually.
And Splyce is still so disciplined about it. They don't waste summoners. They don't use any. I don't think Xerxe has used his flash once this game. He's always been controlled. Just gets ganked off, doesn't do too much, doesn't overextend, gets the kill. And again, mid lane.
All right, let's take a look.
Dead.
There's the stretching strike into a 2-man knockup and brings back Targamas, who had Betsy in his belly. Easy double kills, and Splyce are going to set themselves up for Baron. There's the realm warp into the pit. I do want to say that Kasing and Odoamne are the scumbags of the team today.
He's going to die, no?
Well, let's take a look. Odoamne is going to try to turn this one around.
He's not going to die even.
Emo Plague's on cooldown. Going to get those tides of blood and the transfusions. There's the quickness into the knockup. The support from Kasing and Odo gets another kill. And I'm going to reiterate that they're the scumbags. Amazing. Would you like to know why?
Why?
Because they have denied Xerxe 100% kill participation.
Yeah, I don't think they should have done that.
It's really not cool.
Fire them already.
There we go.
This how it works.
Baron was secured, teleport into the base, and at 23.5 minutes, Splyce are looking for more.
He's dead again.
This is another kill for Targamas. 1 and 5. Splyce have got 15 kills in 23 minutes. They are smurfing in the EU LCS, and they've already broken up the inhibitor. How much more can Splyce take on this push?
I mean, they will reset, but now they probably have like 2k each. And just gonna take all the bottom. There's nothing that Giants can do. Honestly, Xerxe could jump into the base. He will probably not even die because he still has his flash up.
Oh man, that is insane. So let's take a look at some items we can have some fun with. Hourglass and a needlessly large rod for Odoamne. We'll get back to the item talks in a moment. This is the re-engage from Xerxe.
And he's 50% HP, doesn't care. He just jumps in, draws some Betsy. Targamas is like, I'm gonna save my mid laner. Draws him back in, fails to flash over the wall. Betsy's dead too. There's nothing I can do. Easy Nash.
So amazing.
I become repetitive, but this game is really, really just...
Well, what is the... let's see whether or not Odo can survive. Sanguine Pool.
Yeah, that's a replay.
Big heal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saving me.
It's fine.
2 weeks on the job and you've already correcting me. Nicely done.
It's fine. You know, like, it could have... Like, I understand the confusion because we have seen the same thing happen over and over and over again where Splyce engages, whatever Giants does, nothing happens, Splyce get away with it.
Amazing. What does the rest of the league think when you look at a game like this? Because
Giants
obviously Giants are in a disappointing place. They're going to get killed again. Ruin is already down. The tower falls, but let's also be fair.
Yeah.
When you have a top of the table team battling a bottom of the table team, you expect them to do well.
Yeah, but not this well. The implication of this is just that Splyce is gonna be a scary first-round opener for anyone.
Well, that's definitely the case. Xerxe goes into the base once again. Emperor's Divide does nothing for Giants. Kobbe, Odoamne are tearing apart Giants. The only member of Splyce to die this game is Kasing. The base is destroyed. The Nexus is the focus. And Splyce decimate, deconstruct, obliterate, and destroy Giants. The battle for the bye is still on.
And what a statement.
This does not eliminate Giants because there is still several results to lock in. But it makes their life very difficult because Giants head-to-head is not great with many of the teams.
It's also about even if they play tiebreaker game right now, their confidence may actually be destroyed to a certain extent because if you lose that hard, even though Splyce is a great team, you don't want to lose by 120. You actually want to have a chance, a shot whatsoever, but they didn't show any signs of life. And that's something we've seen out of Giants in the past couple of weeks where they seem dead.
Helpless.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me, in picks and bans, amazing, you spelled it out extremely clearly. Xerxe will gank top and dive that Gangplank.
I didn't expect it to that early though.
It happened that early, then it happened again, then it happened again. You know, that to me was the most amazing thing, is that Splyce played to the win condition, they executed it flawlessly, and Giants, they had no answers. They didn't know how to respond.
It's always the question, what kind of preparation Giants actually put in, because if you see those picks, if you see what Odoamne did yesterday on the Vladimir, you should know what's coming. And they didn't.
Absolutely. So where does this put us now? Splyce end the regular season with 11 wins and 7 losses. Of course, this sets them up in that battle for the bye. G2 versus Vitality and the other 2 teams in that race. For Giants, they ended 7 wins and 11 losses. In the second half of the split, they went 2-7. Which is very disappointing for a Giants squad that honestly gave us some hope at the beginning of this, with some excitement, which fizzled. And for Giants now, their destiny is no longer in their hands as the rest of the results play out. And we need to see how the rest of the teams at 7 wins, you know, how they play, what they do, etc.
Yeah, you see a lot of young teams coming in, they look hot, and then other teams adapt to the play style. They adapt to the strengths that maybe these young teams have identified a bit earlier. And I think Giants, they fall flat right now because a lot of teams play late game, or everyone plays late game, but they also have the same aggression that Giants bring, and maybe even better individual players.
Oh man, so that sets us up well. Of course, a little bit later today, Medic will be doing a playoff checkup, and we'll run through the specifics of how the results will be impacting the day.
Misfits and UL must be happy right now too.
Yes, of course. Misfits UL definitely still in contention. And of course, we have to talk about the player of the game. We have 3 players fighting for that one. Kasing, Xerxe, and Odoamne.
Take Xerxe.
Good luck picking them. Xerxe enabled them, then they took over. You guys can vote at LOL eSports. He's already voted. That clear for you? Not even a vote contest?
It's that clear. He was incredible.
Well, there we go. For the finals in Copenhagen, on the 7th and 8th of April, we're giving 20 ticket holders a chance to play on the stage. All you have to do is buy a ticket for both show days, and then, of course, win that raffle. That's how you enter it, ticket for both days. And you can find out more information on eu.lolesports.com and how to be eligible. After the break, it's H2K versus Roccat, with a winner securing a playoff spot. We'll also have a chat with Odoamne. Do not go anywhere. Numbers increasing in the back half of the split. Battle dance onto Targamas. Let's bounce, pulls him backwards. And Kobbe is activated. Dum 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 dum. Ruin gets pulled backwards with a stretching strike. And Odoamne's Hemo play picks up the kill. This is going to be Ruin coming to the fight. Odoamne goes golden thanks to the stopwatch. Let's bounce this in. Wow, Odoamne even takes down Djoko. Now Ruin's in trouble because Nisqy's joined the fight. Odo gets the lifesteal and survives. Dash forward from Kasing. Going to get the quickness onto the roof. Xerxe's coming from behind. Kobbe